is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler. We're recording a fight.
Yeah.
Great.
I want them. No. I'm not gonna edit. I'm not gonna edit the show.
Great. Now they know how much we really hate each other off the
Yes.
air.
You piece of shit.
God damn it.
Fuck you. Wow. We're
Wow.
hard language. We're not even a minute in. I'm Jake. That's Tyler.
Actually, we were just doing both of us were just doing our best impression of Eric July when a fan asks him for a refund.
We don't have a Griff report this week, but that, you know what? That is a story we should do at the end, because this is
We'll talk about it.
This is a more news episode, so I feel like we should stick it at the end right before we do.
But you know, it's really nice.
The mayhem segment.
It's really nice when you think somebody sucks really bad, and then they prove it to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That interaction. Woof. I saw that.
Oh.
Yeah. What made me laugh.
We better watch it because he has a history of threatening people. Like that's how he
No, he does.
operates.
Yeah,
if he can't win the argument,
He does enough to be legally safe.
Yeah.
But also heavily implies that
Oh yeah.
he's like,
Somebody-
I'll fucking fight you, dude.
Somebody should get a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'll drink your blood.
Whoa.
That's what he said to you at the comic convention when you asked him for a sign number
When
one.
you want an autograph, he's like, I'll drink your blood. That's what he says. He takes your blood for
And then you're like, of course I will, master.
And you say,
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
anyway.
Because if you're a fan of him, you got to think he's like God or something. Right?
He's like,
Tiki Watiti.
That's the only reason people like L. Ron Hubbard, you know? They think he's God.
because L. Ron Hubbard came up with a religion that's like,
Yeah.
Pew quip, pew quip.
Absolutely.
anyway.
Half of Hollywood follows it. That's why Eric
Yeah.
July's mad.
Will you just move on? Everybody just move on. Okay? And buy item number. Don't buy that book.
Don't buy that crap.
I have not read it, but I've read enough to be like, yeah, okay. That's not for me. But anyway. And look, I want to be clear. I, as someone who makes art,
Mhm.
like we talked about with the Tim Pool episode that got lost into the ether,
Fuckers.
when it comes to things like ice, when it comes to those guys doing something creatively, I'm not really going to critique it.
Yeah, we're not going to go out of our way to be like, screw you for making something.
I on some level, I do. Yeah, as a creative person, I respect someone that creates something and puts it out there. Okay,
Right.
That's fine.
We have to be able to say like, okay, it's maybe not my thing, but good for you for doing it. Our criticism comes from
him only being able to sell it by attacking Marvel and DC and
with ridiculous
and
arguments, by
saying
the way.
trans kids don't exist and making a fucking bitch fit about a trans flag. But we're not talking about that, right? We're going to talk about something we enjoyed. I'm assuming we haven't talked about it. This is the first time we've talked about it.
Well, somebody's busy all the time.
Oh. That's what I say to that. That's a new drop.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hey. Did I tell you?
Mandalorian.
Did I tell you off the air
Mandalorian,
about
season
the
Finale.
Verizon with Cecily Strong and Paul Giamatti as Einstein? How I want to get some drops from there. Brilliant. Oh,
Yeah.
because he's.
I'm Paul Giamatti.
Hey, I was in Sideways.
I like how that.
I'm also in Billions.
You know what that kind of sounds like? It sounds like my Mark Wahlberg, where my Mark Wahlberg is like, "Hey, bro, I'm Mark Wahlberg."
Have you been to Wahlburgers lately? You know, my brother was in a movie with De Niro.
You come in and watch all the games during March Madness, so you get free fries. Fucking. Anyway, so let's talk about.
You're going down, Mark Wahlberg. I don't know why.
Nice.
So I also want to kind of give it an overall grade for the season, but let's talk about episode 8, the finale of season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Was it called The Return? I think.
I think so.
I think it's.
Well, first of all, this episode for me had a lot going for it because it reminded me like you were talking about Empire. That is the vibe I got. And I love it when a story does this, where the story does the thing of the heroes are at the lowest point and they've got to find a way to win.
It's pleasing.
It's the most basic storytelling tactic.
Yes,
and it's always always works. It always.
What
works.
do you want to see? You want to see the heroes triumph.
People talk about this all the time about the first Star Wars movie, how it's the most basic hero's journey storyline, and it is. And same here. Like, you knew that there was going to be something triumphant in that finale, because it's when you want to root for the highest highs, you have to take it low. You have to go to like desperation to make me.
I
really
will say, go ahead and pizza time it, because we're not gonna fuck around.
Yeah.
Pizza time.
Once again,
spoilers.
Pizza time.
If you haven't been listening for a while, that means if you haven't watched the show, stop and go watch it and then come back. Anyway, I would like to see, for a change, all 3 seasons of The Mandalorian have ended, and then there's not really a cliffhanger. I mean, there is, but there isn't.
But this one definitely sets up the future, I think.
Yeah, but just kind of like, hey, check it out. They're going back to their roots 3 seasons ago. You remember when they were doing a Venture of the Week? They're back to that. That's what it is,
well,
right?
yeah. See, I had some mixed feelings because I really enjoyed this episode, but I think you and I are in the same spot where it's like I don't like where they put Din, because he did just as much. I want to see more Mandalore.
He
could have done. That's what I'm getting to. He did just as much, if not more, than Bo-Katan to bring back Mandalore.
He's the one who went to Mandalore to do
by himself.
When everybody told him. Everybody, even the armorer told him, you can't.
Yeah.
And he still did.
So he's going to do all this work, literally fight Moff Gideon to death. Make sure he burns alive. Sees that. Make sure it happens. To secure Mandalore for his people, and then he's just going to go off again? Why? Because to me, that doesn't seem like a satisfying end to the arc.
No.
Because other people could probably look at it as like, okay, it's going back to its roots of season 1 because it is saying that the Mandalorians are stable again. So Din feels the need to be like, okay, my people are safe. I don't have to stay here.
In terms of basic story, that's what he has to do. He has to watch his apprentice on his journeys.
Yeah.
So
and that's a narrative excuse to be like, well, he's not going to be stuck on Mandalore. He's going to do other things.
Well, season 1, I mean, when they were still doing like the monster of the week type shit,
yeah,
like was pretty cool. Even after he, with the, if you're getting back to basics, that's cool with me. I just,
it just doesn't seem fitting for me, from my perspective of where I see Din.
Can I nitpick?
Sure.
I nitpick every damn Star Wars thing ever, even though every time I see it, I'm like, in my back of my head, I'm like, you need to stop being so critical. It's a story about space wizards, like you always say.
Yeah.
Hey, calm down.
And this little green thing.
Yeah, right? Okay.
Alien.
Right. Yeah. Space Knights.
Pretty much.
But here's
Space Samurai.
So you have an astromech droid named R5D4. By the way, so happy to see him like back in the storyline, because he's the guy who offed himself so that R2 could go with C-3PO back in A New Hope. R2 convinced himself to blow his own motivator. Anyway, R5D4. There was an actual action figure. I had him. Love it.
But that scene he's in is fucking awesome.
Oh yeah,
when he says shield and he is just like, you're seeing Din like systematically fuck these dudes up. I was like, that is so fucking cool. Like, God damn, there's so many moments in this. That's why that ending is not as satisfying for me, because they were closing the narrative loops on the season, which is what a finale should do.
Yeah.
But it just, for me, it seems like Din would stay on Mandalore.
Right.
It feels like why would.
So he calls R5D4 to come into the thing, and he's got his jets like R2 does, so he can fly or at least hover, right?
Yeah.
So he comes down all that way into this deep dark pit onto a ledge, and then even though he has rockets and he's not actually like a living being, he rolls to the edge and looks over and goes, "Ooh, that's far."
Oh my gosh!
Why?
Wow.
Why?
Whoa.
Are you needing to fill 30 seconds of space in the fucking show or something?
Of all the things to be mad about, that seems.
I'm
weird.
not mad about it. I'm just like, why? It's unnecessary, and it was just kind of stupid. It was like, what are you trying to show that he's nervous? Well, he's not. Can't be nervous.
It's also a show for kids.
Yeah.
Remember that. I'm just look.
This is also an episode that ended with a fucking frog being levitated by the baby Yoda.
Yep.
So,
dude, Grogu.
I get it.
Grogu dodged these badass Mandalorian or Beskar
Praetorian.
armored Empire
that
guards.
was a comic.
Imperial.
That
Jesus.
was comically like.
He flipped up on the. And
No,
like,
but he's just like running around the top, and they're like.
and you and I have talked about this. Star Wars has always had kiddie shit in it.
Yeah.
The original trilogy has kiddie. Fucking Ewoks, dude.
But it was so
Fucking
comical,
Ewoks.
man. It was fucking comedy because he's just running around,
Yeah.
man, and they're like,
But when the pipes landed on him, I was like, oh damn, they got him.
yeah.
I will say this: Jack Black said it in an interview about how he loves the like sting of the Mandalorian theme, like the whistle. sound. Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Every
the Mandalorian
time-
theme is so good.
And I agree with him. He said it's like magic, and it is. Every fucking time they use that music cue in this whole season, I was like, yeah, it was always when
whole
he did
theme.
something badass.
The whole theme, like the first time I heard it after episode 1, obviously is the end of the, and they play it. I was like, the first time I
theme
heard
is
it,
amazing.
yeah, the first time I heard it, I was like, okay, I don't know how sold I am on this because it's different,
Yeah.
but. Every week I kept hearing it, I was just like, God damn, this is fucking brilliant. Ludwig Göransson
But in the scene
wrote it.
when Bo-Katan says Mandalorians are better together, and then and the fucking sting, and he pam. It's because it again, to me, when this show works the best is when it leans into being a Western, and it leans in like the Mandalorians are a fucking posse. They're a gang.
Mm.
They rolled into town and fucked up this other posse and collected their bounty hunters. That's what they do. It's a fucking Western.
There's so many different parts of every episode too where you hear that sting, or you hear like a reprise or something like that, or it's in a different key, but it's there. It's that coda, and you're like, ooh. And the music has always been brilliant to me.
Which again is why I think I'm with you on the same thing of like I understand why the ending is the way it is. To be like I am a bounty hunter by trade, and I think that was also saying that like Din has closed his narrative loop through this season. We're gonna go in a different direction because he is, and I think what they're going to do, and I think what that Filoni movie is gonna be, is gonna tie Ahsoka to Bo-Katan. There's gonna be something with they're building to something because they did so much work with Bo-Katan and Din and Mandalore that they're not gonna do some big thing for his movie. I feel like they're gonna be involved somehow. So in a way, I'm okay with
I don't believe it's gonna be a Mandalorian movie. I don't think it's gonna be called like the man. You know what I mean? I don't think it's gonna focus.
I just
on
like
Din
the
Djarin.
idea that he's allying with the New Republic, and he's like just kind of he's a fixer, and that's kind of cool. Like I love the idea. Of
Oh
it.
yeah,
So
me too.
I don't hate it, but I just felt like I wanted a little bit more of him just being on Mandalore and kind of just being there. But if they're gonna go this direction, I'm okay with it too. I think it was still satisfying.
Yeah.
Because it was funny too how they really did just kind of wrap every storyline up as they could, and again, a good finale should do that. Like he got over his droid phobia, just have the droid help him. He trusted Grogu and Grogu saved him a few times and helped him, and it was a satisfying finale for me. I liked the fight. I loved when he just
the aerial shit with the armor was fucking badass. Dude. When she's fucking whacking people with her hammer and shit.
When Din is like when Din is just systematically going through and just killing fuckers to get to Moff, like that. It's such a like Die Hard. Again, it is a simple plot device.
Yeah, and
but it works.
And you notice he kept
effectively.
like when Grogu saved him from the first guys, he pulls a fucking backpack or he pulls a jetpack.
He kept grabbing shit like a
Yeah.
video. It was like a video
First
game.
shield goes down.
He was
He's
picking
got
up the new
you know,
item.
He's got
He took another dude's pistol and he's dual wielding and that's what I love it. I told Ashley this. I go, I don't see this enough in movies and TV shows. And I wish they would do that where it's like me in a video game where I'm like, pop, pop, you're dead. Oh, you got a better gun. Like, in a movie, to me, it just makes sense. Why not just keep picking up the dead guy's guns?
There's
that's
elements
more
of
ammo.
that type of shit in the John Wick series,
But you know what I
if
mean?
I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
but that's why that series is so good.
And that's why Din's part of this episode worked so well because it was like Die Hard, where he's like, "I killed you." Like again, Die Hard.
Now
I have a machine gun.
Ho,
Yes.
ho, ho.
Yes, it's that. Again,
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
motherfucker.
Find Marco and find out if he's telling the truth about those bombs,
Yippee-ki-yay.
about those detonators.
Yippee-ki-yay.
I've seen that movie so many times.
But again, simple plot works effectively. And
Ho, ho, ho.
you know what else I thought was awesome was first of all,
Alan Rickman.
I was completely wrong about the armor, and I'm happy that
Me too.
I'm happy that I'm wrong.
I'm glad you're wrong too. Because I was watching, I was just like,
dude, when they fucking whenever they drop down and fight on, I told Ashley this, I'm watching it. Jetpacks will always be fucking cool. Am I wrong?
no, I think my favorite thing about my two favorite. I don't know that they choreographed Bo-Katan's stuff as well to me. Because it was a lot of it was longer, longer shots, because she's more of a main character. So I think the reason why the armor stuff during that big battle worked so well for me was because it was quick and visceral. Like the sound design when she would hit, a Beskar dude with her fucking hammer, it was like clong. It was like, oh damn, she got him. But I think that's why, and
Just
it's just the necessity
just
of it.
the jetpack fight sequence. We had a jetpack dog fight, dude. That's fucking rad. I'm just saying, I will always get hyped for a couple things: grappling hooks and jetpacks. I'm always hyped for that shit.
I'll always get a big old stiffy.
Grappling hooks for video games. If you have a grappling hook or some sort of swing mechanic like
Oh,
Spider-Man,
you would have loved Strider for the NES.
Oh, there you go. But
that was literally one of your weapons was a grappling hook.
But for
This is my favorite. Was it Strider or was it a different one? Bionic Commando, sorry.
For me, visually, I love seeing jetpacks. And just like the scene where, I don't remember her name, but she was a wrestler, Sasha Banks.
Sasha, yeah, I don't know her name in the show.
And her real name's like Mercedes Vercano or something like that.
Yeah.
But like that scene where she like goes under the thing and like comes up at the other side and just pops the dude.
With the knee rockets?
Yes.
That was fucking cool as hell,
She like
right?
flips over him and just pops him.
No, because she comes up and like four things.
Yeah. See, I told you, I'm a simple man. And when I see
I'm a
Mandalorians,
simple man.
if I see Mandalorians doing fucking cool shit on jetpacks, I'm pretty satisfied. And I was. Like that, dude, people have opinions
I'm
about.
also happy I was wrong about Axe Woves.
Here's the thing I hate is being a more positive Star Wars fan sucks right now.
Why?
Because there's so many negative people online talking about this season. And does this season have its flaws? Sure, everything does.
Every
if you wanna
single
be
Star
nitpicky,
Wars, anything
everything
has flaws.
yes.
It's not fucking infallible. New Hope is not infallible, whatever you want to say. Have you seen like the completely remastered and stuff, right? You can still see the little squares behind the
Or the
spaceships.
stormtrooper hitting his head on the.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
nothing is infallible. And when
It's a miracle these movies get made.
when
these shows get made.
conservatives make the founding fathers infallible, when right-wing Star Wars fans make Lucas infallible, when they do that type of stuff, whenever you make demigods out of these humans, you fail because
The
it's
Snyder Cut people.
fucking
Those
fucking
people.
the Zack
Oof.
Snyder cut people, dude.
Oof.
Oh, we'll burn down DC if you don't be the
This is
guru.
these are from people. This is from two guys who actually liked the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was good.
It was pretty good, yeah.
It's 4 hours. I mean,
You know what I liked about it more is I think there was more Batfleck.
Yes.
Um,
There's more of everybody.
Right, but I think there was more Batfleck,
And
and
the
I
cyborg
like
stuff
that. Cyborg stuff was really cool. They added more, and we got to see Darkseid.
But
But still, was it necessary? Not to the lengths that they went to.
Hey, again,
I'm not mad that it came out, but
no,
they shouldn't have had to threaten me.
You know how I feel about that. About with,
the fans.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm glad that Zach got the closure to release that because of everything with his daughter. But I hate that those people got that win because they will never stop. Sell the Snyder Cut to Netflix. Who? What? DC is not going to give the rights to
why would they
their
do
characters
that? Why?
to Netflix.
Who said that, and why do they
Some
want that?
Losers that tried to. It's a long story. Well, maybe we'll get if we ever do deep dives again. We'll go.
Pathetic.
No,
sad
I
losers.
overall I really really enjoyed this season. People have some opinion. What I'm saying is,
even the one that everybody hated.
My original point was for me, I think I'm more. You and I both are on the more positive side of Star Wars, and I think there's so many. And look, if it's not for you, I understand.
Totally.
If you and I had a conversation with someone a coworker, and he just really doesn't like the new Star Wars stuff. He doesn't even he's not a big fan of this new season.
It's fair.
And we chatted, and we agreed on a lot of things. Where I don't really like the sequel trilogy. You know what I mean? So not everything is for
The farther away I get from it, the less I like it.
But I am more positive on I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian. All 3 seasons I've enjoyed The Mandalorian. I would have enjoyed, a 4-episode miniseries of Boba Fett that didn't have, 2 episodes about The Mandalorian.
About the Mandalorian crammed into it.
But and it's just, and I think people have unfair criticisms of the show and say it's disjointed and bad or whatever. And I think there are fair criticisms of the show, but I overall really enjoyed it. And that's just my opinion is I really enjoyed it. I overlook things because I like you said I don't like to be nitpicky.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. I mean, when I say can I be nitpicky? Because that's me going hey, I do got to say this just to bring it up because this is what my brain does to me when I'm trying to enjoy a fucking Star Wars movie. Like that one where they had the big cruiser over the planet.
Well, you're also you are really
come on, that's a gravity well.
But you've also read the expanded universe books, and you're really into the lore and shit. So
yeah,
you have different perspective. Hey, let me tell you, when the Fallout show comes out on Amazon, I'll probably be the same way because I'll be actually, and then this lore, because I'm that's something that I'm really.
Well, no,
into.
I try not to be the actually guy. I try to
I don't
try
either,
to say,
but I understand where you're coming from.
I try to be hey, you probably didn't read all this stuff. I try to give perspective.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to my brother last week at lunch, and I was kind of explaining to him how I'm trying to convey to you what it was like in 1983 when we were standing in line, and how different that is than now. And my brother was there were spoilers, and I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude. I mean, it wasn't like it was now, but
I was watching an episode
but there were all these different magazines like Fangoria and these sci-fi movie magazines. Of course, they were in the same spot as the porno mags in every place because nobody bought them except for us. But I mean, we didn't buy them.
Sex pests who bought them.
You know what I'm saying? They were not Time and fucking People. Okay, they were not in the same rack as Time and People and the New Yorker and stuff. But my brother was yeah, dude. We would read those magazines, and he told me he was this is what I knew about the new movie, and I was how did you know that much? Because to me it was we didn't have the internet. We had whatever the TV gave us.
I never had those.
He had Bantha Tracks, which was the newsletter of the Star Wars fan club back then. We got that every 6 months, I think, but they gave us updates from time to time. And my brother said that he got a spoiler update from a People magazine because our mom had a subscription, and they had in the front the Star Tracks or whatever. Yeah. They had this whole bit about how all the Star Wars people were in the desert filming this thing with jetpacks. And that my brother was that's all I knew. I knew that, and I knew that, and it was so there were spoilers. It was just not. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I do have a different perspective. I mean, you did grow up with Star Wars just like I did. It's just I'm never gonna gatekeep because I fucking hate that shit. But
I usually do it as a joke.
People
take that seriously.
I do like to say this because it's true and it's pretty fucking awesome. I saw Star Wars in the theater in 77. I was 2, I don't remember it. But my brother insisted that my parents take me after they took him. I'm just saying that's kind of cool. You know? You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy to
Here's
think?
another
You know
thing.
what's crazy to think about is it was 10 years from Revenge of the Sith to The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't cry when the crawl came up, but I just had a big smile on my face.
I did too.
But I think I've shared that story. I've shared my Force Awakens story, and we're getting off topic.
Well.
Hey. Overall, this season for me is an A+. And sure, there are criticisms, and maybe to some people it felt it. Some people might feel that it was uneven.
Yeah.
I think it was
I'm
consistent
going to give it
throughout.
an A because nothing's perfect. I'm right there with you, but A+ is too strong, I think, just because. Nothing's perfect.
Not for me.
Right.
When I like something, I love it.
Uh,
I want to take it out on a nice night on the town. Maybe we start doing a little light kissing, then things get a little hot. and then we get in the car, then we go back to my place. I take my pants off. They take their pants off.
Is this a bit we're doing?
And then we talk about, we think, hey, maybe we should slow down. We hardly
Maybe we
even
should
know
watch The
each
Force
other.
Awakens.
And I said, maybe we should get married. She's like, what? I was talking about moving in. And then you say, you know what? Here's the Last Jedi. And I was like, good idea. We should break up. No, I'm kidding. You gave me Rise of Skywalker, then I said.
Ooh, I had a rise.
People hate. That's what kills me. That's what makes me laugh about that trilogy. To put a bow in that.
That the subtitles sucked balls.
They're always wrong. They're always in the wrong spot. Every time. Because why wasn't Empire Strikes Back the first one?
Well, okay.
We're not. We're
No. Then we're moving on. I swear. But it's 5 seconds.
It should have been Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi.
Sure.
Sure. That's the order.
In 1977, it was Star Wars.
I know.
That's it.
I agree.
And then he got a second one. He's like, well, I had a 9-part trilogy the whole time. I'm like, shut the fuck up, George. Shut up.
Actually, it's
the first one was called A New Hope, and it's episode 4.
Tyler, I had this whole thing planned out, and I don't appreciate you.
Since I was 7 years old. You lying motherfucker.
My George Lucas is just a more distinguished
Yours way
more
better.
distinguished
No,
Hermit the Frog.
I have no, it's a more human,
yeah.
less puppety.
Because, Hermit is more down here, and George Lucas is a little bit more.
But yeah, they did fuck up the subtitles on the fucking. You know what? The prequel trilogy, perfect. Phantom Menace.
Why was it? Yeah.
Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, perfect. All perfect. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, The Return of the Jedi, perfect. The Force Awakens? Well, why don't you just...
What are you supposed to say? They already used Return of the Jedi. You can't say the Return of the Jedi.
The Return of the Curse of the Creature's Ghost. Is it the creature's ghost who's cursed? Or is it the ghost of the creature who died that's cursed? That's a Mr. Show sketch.
Oh, I'm glad that you can rehash that on our show.
We'll be right back to convoluted TV plots in just a minute.
Thanks.
The Return
You
of
know
the
we're
Curse.
going to pay them now.
The Return of the Curse
Stop
of the
doing
Creature's
this
Ghost.
sketch. All right, let's talk about some... we got a collection. This might be a shorter episode. Are you done? That's all on the mic. That's all on the mic.
I coughed away from it.
I heard it still.
Your fucking face. I heard it still.
Very
Where my
condescending.
fucking managers at work.
This is going to be a newsy episode. So we got a couple news stories I want to talk about. 2 of them, fun. 1 of them, a little semi-serious. And then we'll do the mayhem stuff, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah.
First news.
Hey,
First
you should go to Wahlburgers.
First news story.
You almost poked my ass.
Slapped you. First news story. First of all, I feel like a shitty Evil Dead fan because I forgot that movie came out this weekend. Evil Dead Rise, which
is it still Raimi?
No, Lee Cronin is directing it, but Sam Raimi is a producer.
Okay,
No, Sam Raimi's still involved in it.
that's fine.
He directed the pilot for Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Nice.
But this is interesting because they're doing this one is Evil Dead Rise. They're doing a similar approach to what they did with the 2013 reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it, where they're leaning more into their horror roots and not being so much a horror comedy and just being a straight up horror.
See, that's where you lose me.
But see, this is the thing. That's what I love so much about this franchise because it's such a fucking weird franchise. Because
why is it a franchise?
That's the thing.
The first two Evil Dead are the same damn movie, just with different budgets.
No.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
They're different movies. Evil Dead 2 is a cavalcade of comedy. Okay. I wanted to say cavalcade, but I said cavalcade.
Army of Darkness is one of the most criminally underrated movies ever.
It's not criminally underrated. I think it's perfectly rated. Well, people love it. It's a cult classic.
More people should love it.
Well, that's what I mean. It's the most one of the most disjointed franchises. But what makes
that's what.
But this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because it does. It has like two versions, like two kinds of. It's a weird thing because the original is scary, right? Supposed to be scary. Supposed to be a straight up horror. Has a little bit of humor in it, but it's mostly horror. Second movie is The Stooges with horror, with blood and guts. If The Stooges had that, right? The Three Stooges, because he loves them. And then Army of Darkness is, again, it's Jason and the Argonauts. It's a straight up adventure comedy.
There's an entire Three Stooges bit.
Yes.
In the graveyard, which is one of my favorite bits of that movie. That whole sequence when all the skeletons.
Or when they...
Bruce Campbell should get a fucking Academy Award for acting with those skeletons. Just...
Don't forget the scene when... when he has to fight tiny versions of himself. My fair lady. Ha! It's a great movie. Hey, but that's the thing.
I like the skeletons better.
You either have two groups of fans. You have the fans, and then people love the fucking reboot. That's more of a horror.
And then watching,
but you have two like different fans that love the horror shit, or the people that like the more Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2 shit. Yeah. Or there's most of them are like me, that like both. I like both versions.
And during the Army of Darkness sequences, where you can see like one dude carrying like 8 other skeletons on a big metal thing next to him, and he's dressed as a skeleton.
Yeah.
Arr! Look at all the skeletons.
Let's get the hell out of here.
It's great because you look at it, and instead of being like, "Oh, that's cheap," you're like, "Way to go, Sam! Way to stretch that production dollar."
He has, makes it on a shoestring budget.
There's different. You can see a movie where you're like, "Wow, this is low budget," and then you can see a movie where you're like,
"That's part of the charm of those movies, and that's why people like them, is because they can tell there's like
he did
passion
a lot
and a
with
lot.
What little he had to work with, Raimi made."
And
so good.
It added more to it because most of it was practical. Like they made puppets of the skeletons in the Army. So again, back to Evil Dead Rise. I'm someone that is excited to see both, and that's what makes Evil Dead so interesting to me, because I think it's valid to just be like, no, I just like the Bruce Campbell stuff. That's totally valid to me. I mean, there's also people like me, like, no, I actually like both.
I've never seen either of the first two.
Evil Dead 2 is one of my...
Army of Darkness is one of my favorite all-time movies. I've never seen any of Ash vs. Evil Dead. Is that on Amazon?
I have it on Blu-ray. You can watch it.
What is it on?
It was on Stars. So I need to get season 2 and 3.
Have we told all of the streaming services to knock it off yet? With the MGM Plus and the shit.
So the main story here with Evil Dead
Max
Rise
Plus
is when we're recording on Friday. So who knows the actual box office, because this comes out on Friday.
Came out last night, probably.
Yeah, I did. So Evil Dead Rise, this is a fun tidbit I saw, thanks to, is it CBR? I have the sources here.
I haven't read
CBR.com gave us a fun little tidbit. Evil Dead Rise premiered on 3,000 screens on Thursday, per Variety. It grossed $2.5 million. Ooh. Which is pretty modest, but I don't think it's probably made for very much. These horror movies make bank because they make on tiny budgets. The 5th installment of the popular horror franchise has already outpaced the domestic gross of the 1983 original, which ended its theatrical run with $2.4 million. So, I pointed that out because it's a fun tidbit, because $2.4 million that built Sam Raimi's career. 2.5 million now is like, oh, that's a modest start to the box office. I have no doubt that Evil Dead.
We're also talking like 40 years.
We're also talking about Evil Dead fans who are fucking diehards. So this movie
does his car make an appearance in this one?
I don't know.
You know about his car, right?
That's also the appeal of this one. Is it a
Chevy?
This one is in a city. It's a Plymouth. His car's a Plymouth.
Oh, a Plymouth. But yeah, it was Uncle Ben's car in the Spider-Man movies.
But this setting is more urban versus being in the woods and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Boo.
You should watch the Red Band trailer.
No.
It's fucking gnarly.
No.
So
I've heard that. No,
I'm gonna get you to like horror movies. I'm gonna do it.
I've never liked horror movies. You want to know why?
You little bitch.
No, because there's plenty in this world to be frightened of than to make up shit.
I'm Tyler and I'm fucking deep, dude. You might as well call me a well, because I'm deep. I'm fucking deep.
Wow. See, that's what happens. That's what happens when you try and.
I got a really bad tickle in my throat.
I'm gonna get out of here. There's a tickle going
water
around this house.
Yeah, it's a carbon monoxide leak.
We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die. Yeah. See.
Oh wow, that was beautiful.
When you try and make fun of the greatest.
Can I call you the well from now on? Because you're fucking deep.
You can call me Marianas.
What is
after the trench? The deepest place on earth.
I'll drink your blood.
No, you can call me the trench.
You can call me the trench.
You are nothing but garbage. Yeah, nothing but garbage.
And then somebody online is gonna mishear it. The trans. Let's get them.
Break the walls down. All right. So next newsy story. I don't know why.
Newsy.
The next
extra douchebags.
Wow. I've never seen Newsies, the musical. So
wasn't Christian Bale in that?
Yeah. So the story, we just got some updates on the Victoria Alonso case. Now, if you are not familiar with who Victoria Alonso is, she was working for Disney and Marvel. She was the president of the visual effects and animation productions for them. So she was fired in March. Mm-hmm. And there were rumors that Disney did this because of a breach of contract over her work as a producer on Amazon Studios Argentina 1985. The report stated that Alonso had violated the terms of an agreement with Disney from 2018 that prohibit employees from working with competing studios. See, this is a problem I have with that and why I didn't necessarily believe that when that came out, because why wouldn't her lawyer step in and stop her from making the Amazon thing if it was in her contract? The lawyer should have known that and should have tipped her off and said, you cannot work for them because you're...
Right. Well, what?
Or Disney should have been able to block her from even working on that by saying that's your non-compete.
Based on the outcome, I think there's a reason why her lawyer didn't say anything, because there was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I mean, based on what, right?
Well, and yeah, but just
because she won a lawsuit against them for wrongful termination.
They settled.
Disney knew they did wrong.
And her lawyer, you killed it. You buried my lead here. I was hoping you were following along because I was going to make it very dramatic and then just be like, oh, they just settled out of court.
Do you want to start over?
No, it's fine. No, but the interesting thing that to me about this was...
Got a good lawyer.
But I guess so, because Patty Glazer, her attorney, disputed these reports, saying, quote, the idea that Victoria was fired over a handful of press interviews relating to a personal passion project about human rights and democracy that was nominated for an Oscar, in which she got Disney's blessing to work on it, is absolutely ridiculous, end quote. Yeah. Alonso and Disney reportedly reached a multi-million-dollar settlement in the days leading up to the official announcement on April 20th, though details and the two parties remain confidential.
I'm happy.
So neither Disney or Alonso's attorneys have spoken.
Either side spare $1 million each to maybe feed some hungry kids? Just a thought.
Man, I wish, maybe I should do a tactic like that when I get fired and be like, yeah, well, I didn't do the thing wrong. and they knew I didn't do anything wrong, and now they owe me a bunch
Nobody's
of money.
eyes are on you or your company, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares.
Well, the stock.
There wouldn't be, yeah.
And that's probably another thing. I think smart move by Glazer and Alonso to be like, hey, this is bullshit, and dispute it publicly, because Disney reports their shareholders, so they're like, we got to fucking get rid of this shit. So that's why all of these corporations settle everything. Dominion and fucking Fox News settled out of court. Dominion knew they didn't really need much of a case. They had plenty of evidence, and they're like, hey, do you really want to go through this, or just pay us a bunch of fucking money so you'll shut up? Like, this is exactly what Disney just did. All right, Victoria.
Which is hilarious because they still keep playing the My Pillow commercials.
Yeah, because it was so smart, because it's just like, she's going to have her lawyer do that, and then Disney will be like, all right, Victoria, fuck me. What do you want? They go to the table, and they give her what she wants.
Do you think the people that, go to the audition for the My Pillow commercial and they win it, do you think they call their families with, like... I'm willing to bet that it's not...
Mike Lindell will never let anybody but him.
I'm willing to bet... well, you're wrong there, because his latest commercial that I see constantly...
Kevin Sorbo is in it.
No, which would be great.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to bet that the telephone call home from L.A. when you get that, when you land the My Pillow is not
pays well.
Is not, Mom, Dad, you wouldn't believe it. It's more, well, after this bullshit, I'm coming home.
No,
I can't make it out here.
Hey, Mike Lindell, just here to tell you.
Just here to tell you your son is here in my commercial, and he looks like
he's a beautiful crack mule. I mean,
beautiful.
What?
He's a beautiful.
Now bored?
Apparently.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to make a fun show. I know it's a shorter episode this week, but, like, come on, man.
Listen, Kevin Sorbo, if you like sleeping... I don't know why Mike Lindell turned into Jesse Ventura.
Have you heard that... No, but have you seen that viral clip of Jesse Ventura? He's speaking at this, like, con.
Yeah.
And he's like, there should be no billionaires. The crowd's like, yeah.
You know why? Because there's nobody on this planet that does $1 billion worth of work.
And then he's like, and I was like, okay. And he's like,
you know what I was doing at fucking...
He didn't say that. He didn't say fucking.
But he was like, you know what I was doing at 17? I was on the bridge crew working the jackhammer 8 hours a day.
Like, it's almost like he's getting...
Having a stroke.
No, my version of him is getting ramped up like he's doing a wrestling promo.
But, yeah, anyway.
I got to give him credit, though. He really went for that skullet. It's a very long skullet. Like, the top of his head is really bald, and then he's got really long hair on the sides.
Whatever, man, you know?
But yeah, it's
Jesse, you be you.
Essentially, it was him just doing that, just being like,
why can't we get him on our show already?
I'm already here.
Holy shit!
I was here the whole time. I've been hidden in the corner. I was
eating Cooper scraps.
You know that little bump you hear, or you feel in your chest? That's good old Jesse letting you know everything's okay. Working the jackhammer.
Y'all, this stuff will make you a sexual tyrannosaurus.
I'm pretty I think my Jesse Ventura one has come a long way.
I think it sounds pretty believable. You know what else? You know what else I used to do? I used to body slam Hulk Hogan in the next Tuesday like a sack of potatoes.
The little bitch.
And he's not a sexual tyrannosaurus like me.
Interesting note about Hulk Hogan.
Tiny cock.
Tiny.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
It's turned into the Jesse Ventura
Where's
hour.
the what fucking thing, dude?
Oh, yeah.
What?
There you go. Bring it back.
And then I said to him, Alex, you can't say that to me. And then Alex Jones said,
I'll eat your ass.
Wow. So are we back now? So we finished the Alonso story.
we're just killing time.
What's the next story?
The next story is fuck you. so unnecessary. So this next one.
The next story is go to hell.
So this next story I want to use is
called
kind of
rapport.
another jumping off point to have a conversation because
What are we jumping off of?
a cliff.
We've been doing so for the last 10 minutes. Haven't you been listening?
Hanging on the end of my rope.
All right.
Enough
So this next one is an interesting story. It's one of those things where it's like a human interest story in a news program. Like we're gonna wrap it up with a fun story.
Here's a squirrel that knows how to water ski.
Yeah. Stay classy. So according to the Guinness Book of World not the book. According to Guinness World Records, hardcore Deadpool fan, which I almost abbreviated to hardcore DP fan. I'm like, no, that's not right.
Who isn't one of those?
You should see my search history.
Wow.
All right.
Let's make sure we put at least 5 minutes between this and the end segment, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, well that yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, hardcore Deadpool fan Gareth Peter Paulini
His name's Peter.
has amassed one of the biggest Deadpool collections with over 2,250 items. Quote, this is from Gareth himself, quote, because of Reynolds, the mainstream audience knows who Deadpool is. And he also said to Guinness that he brought the character to life and he embodies who Deadpool is. And I would love to gift him a figure of himself from my collection, but just to have a picture with him in the Deadpool cave dedicated to the character that he embodies would be epic, end quote. I hope he gets it. Good for you, Gareth. Now
I can say this, Ryan Reynolds is the kind of guy who would make that happen. And does it sound like he's in the UK?
Why? Gareth? Maybe.
A little bit. The reason why I'm asking is because he and what's his name own that soccer team over in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole thing on Hulu.
Oh yeah,
about
the
it.
Wrexham thing. Yeah.
So he's over there sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it wouldn't surprise me one bit to know that Ryan Reynolds was like, yeah.
Now somebody could say like, "Oh, good for you. Like, what did he do to earn it?" I'm like, no, it's just it would be a cool story. Like if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Whatever. But I just think, and this is what I wanted to talk about with like in terms of collection, because I'm in the weird place where I buy most of my video games digitally. Now, here's the problem, and what freaks me out with buying things digitally, and why I still think there will be a demand for physical things. Some games just get delisted off the store for whatever reason, whether it be like the licensed music agreement ended, so they got rid of it digitally, or whatever the case may be. Things like that can disappear. And we've talked about this before, I have gotten to the point where I'm leaning a little bit more to physical copies because of all the fucking streaming services. So I just kind of want to talk about like collection and like with your Legos and stuff, like, because I know you kind of sell sets that you don't really want. Like for you, like what does it mean to have like these certain sets? Like I'll always keep this. Like
So
this is my collection.
here's the thing. I
love
oldest
conversations like this.
The oldest set that I probably have right now is my Sesame Street set. And the reason why is
because it's Sesame Street.
I started buying Legos when I lived in an apartment in Des Moines, and then when I moved, I had to move it all kind of quickly, and I didn't really think about keeping the sets. And then I moved into my mom's basement, and while I was there, I amassed a big-ass collection. And there was space, because I basically had the bottom floor of the house to myself.
Yeah.
But everything was covered with Legos, man.
Yeah.
And so I got rid of a lot of those. I didn't know how to get rid of them. Like, I can go sell them at this place now.
Yeah.
So right now, currently, I have the Pyramid at Giza. I have the Atari 2600. The Indiana Jones sets, and the Back to the Future car that you can make into all three versions.
Yeah.
And then I have the Sesame Street one, and the reason why, those are sets that I want to keep, and they rotate. At some point, like I might sell the 2600 set because I like it, but it's really big and it takes a lot of space. So I don't know if I've shown you my toolboxes, those little dollar toolboxes you get at the dollar store, but that's where I keep all my minifigures. I have saved every one of my minifigures.
So like,
because those are more important to me than the actual set.
Yeah, but what's the sentimental thing behind that? Because for what I think about, like, because we do the show in my basement, and it's funny because my story is like, I feel like any male that's in a straight relationship, all my stuff gets put in the basement. Because to be fair, most of my stuff is silly.
Well,
and this is but this is also my studio, you know. So we record down here, and I like having my stuff down here. But like when I look at my bookshelf, where not all these books are mine, some are my wife's.
Yeah.
My wife's, and then I look at my comics.
Well, I have
and just like the things on the top shelf of like the knickknacks, and the reason like people, I always want to know, like, what is in people's mind to collect things, and I think it really just boils down to like the expression of who I am.
It's
cool
cool stuff to have,
and you could pick up who I am as a person.
I still have a bunch of the Simpsons minifigures when they had the
Boba Fett
the blind
helmet,
bags.
the Boba Fett helmet that is in this basement that's right behind you.
Yeah.
My mom got that for me in like when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And I've had it forever. Next to it, the R2D2 is a tape recorder that I bought from my friend. I gave to my dad, and then it came back to me when he passed away. And it's like, it's such a weird, like, that's what makes collection cool, is just having that story of like that journey that went with that R2D2.
If you watch my off-panel off-box, sometimes you'll see the Viking Little Mate.
Yeah.
And back in the late 70s, early 80s, they had I think they're called Little Mates. And they had like 8 of them. And there was the Cowboys, Broncos, Vikings, Raiders. And they were these little stuffed animals. And they were cool as shit. And I always wanted one. And I wasn't a Vikings fan back then. My parents got like the catalog, the toy catalog, the Christmas catalog, JCPenney and shit that you could look at all the toys and whatnot. And that's where I saw them and everything. And I always wanted one. And again, at that point, I just thought the Raiders were cool because of the symbol. I didn't know anything about football. This is, early 80s. I'm like 7,
Yeah.
But, throughout my life, I become a Vikings fan and everything, move out to Ohio. And my girlfriend at the time, her dad is one of the greatest men I've ever known in my life. Like, just a fantastic guy. He has passed on now. But this was 10, 15 years ago, so it wasn't as easy to just go on like, Google and like find something. He actually had to go and work and he found the Minnesota Viking Little Mate from a collector, like across the country, and bought it for me for Christmas. That is one of my most prized possessions because not only is it one of the coolest things, and it's virtually irreplaceable. You can't find those anymore. But the level of shit that went through the guy who got it for me, and the level of thought, I can't put a price on that. I'd never. If somebody came to me and said, "How much?" I'll give you $10 million for that. Maybe, but you know what I mean.
Well, I also think
it's like that tape recorder of yours. It's
just crazy that little journey that it goes on. Yeah. Well, and what the thing with me is like there's two sides to it, because on one side it's like I get it, I absolutely get why people have things, because it's that idea of taking something that is usually on your screen. And pulling it into your life and putting that little totem in your world. You know what I mean?
It's so cool to hold, like,
dude. But that's the thing. I've been playing a lot. I've talked about it on the show. I've been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas, and like I'm working on a video for it and everything, and I'm doing all this research and stuff, and I'm fucking going to the fucking shop, the Bethesda shop, and looking at it, and I was like, dangerously close to buying something.
You need to not do that.
I don't need, because I want it. I want it in my world. Like,
so I can do that shit.
So like in the game,
but I don't have a kid.
In the game, well, that's the thing too.
Or a mortgage.
I don't necessarily need to clear it by my wife, but I do need to justify why I'm buying this thing that I clearly do not need.
Or at least save up. Like,
well,
okay.
And the thing I want is not expensive, but I'm just like, I don't know if I really need that.
Need it?
Yeah. But anyway. And because it's a crucial part of the game. So like in the game, there's this casino that's called the Lucky 38. Nobody's ever been in it. That's where Mr. House is. And there's like, he's one of the things about the main plot, and there's a whole thing with that. And there's a sentimental value to it, because in the game, You can choose to side with him and work with him, and you
Mhm.
get a little presidential suite in the casino, and you work with him. Or if you kill him and try and create an independent New Vegas, which is what I'm doing in this playthrough, but then you essentially just take it over for yourself. And there's still, to me, that's a sentimental value, because in my head, I'm like, this is the right way to play this game, and this is my little head base right here. But what really frustrates me is when I go to that shop and there's something from Fallout that I really want and it's fucking sold out. I'm like, damn it. But to some extent, I understand it, and I still think that in terms of like Blu-rays, I started buying Blu-rays and collecting Blu-rays because I was able to find them. I would just go to locally, it's a place, Jay's CD and Hobby, but I would just go to used game stores or used movie stores and just get them for like $5, $6.
I still have. I haven't gotten rid of all my DVDs and Blu-rays, and honestly, I'm really hoping that like in 10 years, there's idiots out there who are like that with vinyl now, like with DVDs that, like, oh, I got a Casa de Mi Padre.
But there's two problems. There's two issues with that. Wow, that's a deep cut. But
That's a great movie.
But another thing I was thinking about issue-wise is space. It's just space, just general space.
That's why most people probably, like, I got rid of all of my CDs.
Because
all the CDs that I've collected over the years, I fucking got rid of them. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm
because
kind
even
of
now
mad
I'm
that they're
looking at my
gone.
Blu-rays and I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to get another shelf.
I got Spotify. I mean, as a musician, I hate that. I hate the death of the album because I make albums. You know what I mean? But nobody makes those and nobody sells them anymore. I am a dinosaur, but I can still put my stuff on Spotify, and even if people listen to one song or, you know.
No, and I'm never going to not appreciate the convenience of being able to stream movies or digitally buy video games, but at the same time,
Don't you see an end coming, though, at some point? Like, just a big collapse?
Well, everything that's old is new again. You know, we talk about, I mean, and vinyl. Yeah, look, vinyl's been consistently been produced by many artists because it's still, people still have record players. So they're still selling new record players. There's still ways to do this. And that's another thing too. People are like, well, Blu-ray, and then there's going to be 4K Blu-ray, and there's going to be another version of Blu-ray. I'm like, well, at the very least,
I should look into how much
that will
a vinyl
happen.
copy of Arigato would
That
be.
will happen, but for the most part, the most thing being mass-produced right now is Blu-ray, and I have 2 Blu-ray players because I have my PlayStation and my Xbox, so I'll be fine.
Also, you know, when Blu-ray first came out, it was like, you have a Blu-ray player? Yeah, well, I have a PlayStation. Now, you can get them for $20 at Target, dude. $20. Blu-ray player. Why? Because they're not in demand.
Because when it boils down to it, at some point, I'm going to start cutting more of these apps because at some point, I'm just going to be like, this isn't sustainable.
No.
It's never.
I mean, right now I have Prime, I have HBO Max, I have Hulu, I have Peacock, I have Paramount. I got Paramount because of I got Paramount because I was trying to watch the Iowa Hawkeye women's basketball game, and then I come to find out, oh no, you can't watch it on there. So I bought Paramount for no damn reason. But which was great because when I got my Indiana Jones Lego sets, they have all the Raiders of the movies, so I got to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of the movie.
Raiders of the movie.
I need to watch Crystal Skull. We've been watching all of them.
They made a Crystal Skull set back in the day, a Lego one with little Crystal Skull minifigures or little alien, you know, and I'm pissed.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
I want one
Lego
of those.
sets spoil shit too much.
I don't know if that spoiled one back then.
Another great example of why I love collection. I thought I had it.
Yeah,
over
what are
here.
we gonna do with all these comics?
Well, that's something, but. Oh, I think I already put it up.
What?
But no, Starship Troopers. When we did that that
yeah.
retrospective episode, I bought the steel book with the bugs burning down the bodies and stuff because it looks cool. I fucking love the steel books. They're cool.
You know what?
So I understand. Like I will never. Like I said, I understand, and I will continue to use the convenience of digital. But man, there is something about having something physically in your hands.
So my brother, he bought like a film can.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, you take the lid off and it's got the Batman symbol on top, and you take the lid off and the liner notes are a circular booklet, and then there's the CD and it's the Prince soundtrack.
Yeah.
And he bought that back in the day, like it's from like the 80s and shit. dude, that's a cool like collectible to have, right?
Yeah.
It's just neat.
Big fan. Tyler, are you ready?
Is it loud enough?
I turned it down. Get your ass to
My music just rocks too hard for even me, man. Yeah! Listen to the song, man. Why you gotta be talking over the song?
You're doing it.
It's your song.
Shut up. All right, Tyler, you ready?
This week, it is...
Thanks to Mayhem in Clive.
Yep, Mayhem Comics in Clive,
I also
Iowa.
have one in Ames, Iowa.
There is also yes, there is. I'm pretty sure there is one in Ames. Yes. Definitely go check them out. You can get poll lists and stuff, so you can go to their website, and there's all sorts of neat stuff you can do.
Support local comic
to
shops,
make your
people.
But if you're in that area, either one of the areas, it's a great place to make your comic book weekly
Also,
experience
they
a lot
have a lot
easier.
of like magic stuff, and they do
Huge gamers,
big,
man.
Well, yeah, there's a whole tabletop section.
They
Like,
have
there's a
a-
lot of tabletop.
They
stuff.
have an entire section where, like, I've never been in it, but past all the comic books,
Mhm.
it's just this gigantic, like,
It's a game room
lunch,
for-
like, cafeteria almost space
Yeah.
with, like, and it's all for gaming. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool. But yeah, thank you again to Mayhem.
One of these days, I'm serious. I really want to do a role playing.
We should go there and do, like, a segment and talk to people. And just,
I would love to do a role playing pod. Like,
Yeah.
like play a game and record it. Like
Yeah.
D&D podcast.
yeah.
But anyway, that's a different topic. Today we're talking about what? Tyler?
Well, Dark Horse Comics is the one that publishes this one. It's called the Great British Bump Off. Now, as somebody who loves like
Bump
cooking,
Off.
the Great British Bump Off. Sorry, at work we have
God save the Queen
At-
and the British Bake Off.
at work we have English cucumbers, and every time I get one, I have to say to myself, "Oh, it's an English cucumber."
You've offended the English.
Whatever. But I love cooking shows. Chopped is one of my still all-time favorite shows. It's just so amazing. Next Level Chef is actually pretty.
Ashley
neat.
got me onto that one. I
That's
didn't really watch
it's
that one.
it's a cool way that they do it, and Gordon's calmed down, so it's a little But this is
You
basically
donkey!
you wanker.
You donut. He calls
You
people
donut.
donut a lot, which just makes me hungry.
So the script, John Allison, art Max Sarin, and colors Sammy Boris, letters Jim Campbell.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Am I missing something?
Oh, Croquembouche is what that is.
Am I-
Croquembouche.
Am I missing something? Because
bread.
I feel like a lot of these books have a similar art style. They're not the same, and I don't think they're the same
Cartoony?
artist. But they
Are you
have
talking about like more?
the Unicorn, the Vampire Hunter, Black Cloak, and this have a very similar art style.
Yes.
I'm not saying they are the same.
No, they aren't. But
very similar.
it's more of a cartoony style.
Yeah.
I think you and I are used to more of like the superhero comics, which are generally try to be more realistic
Yeah,
in ways.
yeah,
This is very caricature.
yes.
But it's
But it works for the. What it reminds me of is
it's a horror book that takes place at a cooking competition.
I wouldn't call it a horror book.
Well,
I would call
it's
it
a murder
it's a
murder mystery.
Yes,
there you
it's
go.
a whodunit.
Yes.
And
It's really pretty funny.
but with the artwork, what it reminds me of is Chew, which is a series that I love.
Okay.
That I will.
Yeah, what's up with that redheaded judge lady?
But in a sense of what works for Chew, why it works for Chew, and why I think it works for this is because it amplifies the humor.
Yeah.
Because it is very. I would
What's up
say
with this lady. You know what I mean?
with
Weird.
the big boobs, the
Well, no, like
supermodel
she
one.
seems really like off. Anyway.
Yeah.
keep going.
Well, it's just she's British.
But I like the main character. She's cool.
But I think that style does add to it. I think it was mostly pretty funny. I did think it was. I dug the humor. I like the style of the writing. It's just the art kind of threw me off. Now, as I was reading it, like I've said with every book, whenever I'm standoffish about the art, I still just I don't let it deter me from enjoying it.
yeah.
Eventually my mic's coming out.
Why are you holding it? Why are you holding it? So there's this really brilliant bit right here. And
Is that better now?
Yeah. But Shauna is the student who's trying to like solve the mystery or whatever after the first murder happens. And she goes, "This cannot be. UK bakery tent keeps the nation's pecker up." And the guy and the old lady she's with are like, "Rude." And she goes, "Pecker as in beak, legitimate usage." And as she storms out the door, the lady and the guy are looking at their phones. Apparently that is the correct use of pecker. Well, I never. But crap like that, and it's just it's there's some weirdness to it. You know what I mean? Like there's odd, like this whole sequence right here with like, you know, and the stuff that they're making is obviously fantastical. Nobody would make any of this.
She made a cake for a fascist.
Or, you know what I mean?
The
like
main character did.
Right, but I mean, like the bottom line is that like none of the things that they describe, like when they're walking around, like what are you making today? Like none of those. You couldn't like this thing. You couldn't make that in an hour,
2 hours,
whatever.
Yeah,
but
it has the style of like an adult
Clue
animated show, like But again, the humor works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the humor is fine. I think it's a funny book, but it's not something that entices me to read another one, and that's just mostly because I don't know. I'm just for me. I don't want to read a whodunit month to month. I want to read it all at once.
Here's what I would say.
So like I don't. You know what I mean? I don't really want to.
This is the first issue.
Series situation.
Right. This is the first issue, and I would say if this is like a limited 6-issue series, when it comes out in like a collected work, I'll probably
trade.
I'd probably get it. You know what I mean? Just to read the whole story. But if it's an ongoing thing, like, can't do it.
Well, it can't be. I mean, it has to be a limited series.
It has to be, right?
By the
way, The Punisher is going to end up being a 12-issue miniseries, which, dude, that thing is going.
They're changing his origin again.
Huh?
They're changing his origin again.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just saw a headline saying that. I didn't read the article.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means.
I've been
either.
reading it, but no, that's not the origin.
I was looking for stories and I just saw that. So.
Well, no, his wife finally figured out what happened after she was killed because they brought her back. And that's how they got him to... It's in the first issue. Well, that's how they got him. And it's been out for a year. Shut up. No, that's how they got him to be the Fist of the Hand.
What a stupid name. Of the Fist of the Hand? Just call him the Fist Man Hand.
Dishpan hands.
Fishman can.
Fishman can. The Jellyman can.
And the toucan can.
The
Fishman can.
That's exactly right.
And
Skeletor.
I looked Frank Castle straight in the face and I said,
I could write a book about what you don't know.
and he shot me in the face.
I would say, again...
And then he said,
yes! Objectively, as a book, entertainment value... I'm gonna give it definitely a B+ because it's entertaining.
It reminds me of like a Fox
Mad Magazine
animation damnation kind of show. You know what I mean?
Did you ever see? Speaking of Fox, did you ever see? We were talking about Alan Rickman earlier. Did you ever see The American Dad? Or
this is Alan Rickman.
This is Alan Rickman. Please leave a message
for Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Professor Snape. All right, R.I.P. man. R.I.P. Gone too soon.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I thought you were gonna keep going. All right. Tyler.
So unfortunately,
a couple of things I want to talk about.
Oh.
About the show.
Goddamn
microphone. Well, come on now. It's my fight with the microphone.
Wait, did we finish the break? The mayhem?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Ah!
Hey, look, it's a dog.
You ever done the devil horns and accidentally poked yourself in the eye?
No, because
you gotta be
I'm
really
freaking.
You gotta be really hammered for that.
Hammered.
Hammered.
Well,
you know, the other day.
You know what they say When you're a hammer, everything is a nail.
What did you want to talk to me about?
I want to talk to you about your prostate. We can talk about it off the air if you want, but that's really what I wanted to talk
Oh,
about.
dude, that totally reminds me of like one of those fucking commercials, you know, like, Dad,
Have
do you
you
ever
talked
feel,
about your...
hey, Dad, do you ever feel not so fresh in your butthole? That's prostate,
Dad,
son.
I've noticed you've been peeing quite a lot. I think you should go to the doctor about your prostate.
I'm Jesse the Body Ventura, god damn it.
My prostate's made out of cement
You
and
might-
steel.
You might as well call me Jesse the Prostate Ventura. I'm pissing like a beautiful racehorse.
I piss once a week on my terms. Never more than... Why are we doing this?
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura,
Jesse
walking down the
Ventura.
street.
Hey.
He's got a prostate. It's pretty great.
What are you saying?
Hey, you know I was in Predator?
Arnold technically has bigger arms than me. I'm not happy about that.
I also ain't got time to bleed.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.